He's going to talk about the miseries of the Ipswich resident Arthur, Point Percy at the Porcelain, Gosset. How are you there, Harold?
Yes, very well, Danny. It's a miserable story about Arthur Percy Gosset. Hope I don't get you down.
Poor old Arthur. Let's let her rip and let's talk about Arthur.
Yeah, look, last week's story about the murder on Mitchell Downs got a number of people talking.
Yeah.
Now, I was asked about the late station manager's wife, who was from Redbank in Ipswich.
Right.
They wanted to know more about her second husband, who she married in 1867. And I'd said that he was destined to suffer a slow and painful death. Now, his name was Arthur Percy Gosset, old Arthur. He was related to Colonel Ralph Gosset, who was the Sergeant-at-Arms in the British House of Commons. It was his job to drag out unruly members and keep them locked up in the clock tower.
Wow.
Anyway, here in Ipswich, our Gosset was also an upstanding member of society. In 1859, he was charged by a policeman with using obscene language.
Wow.
Gosset conducted his own defence and not only beat the charge, but also managed to have the constable rightly dismissed from the force.
Wow.
Now, later that same year, when Ipswich was still part of New South Wales, Gosset was one of the 90 people who petitioned the New South Wales government for Ipswich to become the first municipality in the Northern Colony.
Wow.
And so Gosset was effectively one of Ipswich's founding fathers. Now, at the same time, Gosset founded the Ipswich Collegiate School, which was quite possibly the finest school in the colony. Wealthy squatters from everywhere sent their sons there. One notable scholar was Charles Edward Chubb, who was the son of the Ipswich mayor, Charles Frederick Chubb. Chubb Jr. later became a member of the Legislative Assembly, Attorney General, and a judge of the Supreme Court of Queensland. In fact, after attending Gosset School, Chubb was accepted into the illustrious City of London School in England. And pupils there have included one British Prime Minister, 2 Nobel Prize winners, 1 England cricket captain, and even 1 Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe himself. Now, so Gosset School in Ipswich, now that was on the corner of Gordon and Limestone Streets, and that's where it got the reputation as one of the leading schools in the colony, and Gosset himself, one of the best educators. But in 1863, something terrible happened.
What happened?
The school was there. Oh, look, I'll come back to that. It'll get you down. But the school was then forced to close, and Gosset's life went into a downward spiral. You see, look, as a result, he was forced to take a job as a colonial civil servant up in Rockhampton. Now, luck seems to change for him when Shampoo the Chinaman tried to murder the manager at Yandilla Station.
Shampoo?
And in 1864, Shampoo the Chinaman, I told her that last week. And in fact, Shampoo tried to murder him, but then in 1864, someone else was successful. And so this cleared the way for Gosset to return to Ipswich in 1867 to marry the murder victim's widow at St Paul's Church. And now Gosset's father-in-law became John Tinker Campbell. He was a shrewd Scotsman then living in Redbank, whose legend included an endless list of enterprising business failures. Anyway, Gosset and his wife went to live in Rockhampton, but that's where in 1872 his wife suddenly died. And 5 months later, Gosset's Lion Creole Hotel was mysteriously burned to the ground. Now, despite a sizable reward of £100 offered by the government, the crime was never solved. Gosset got married for a second time in 1874. That again ended fairly quickly. And that was following a remarkable 3 days of evidence where the divorce court was heard about his wife's intemperate habits and her affairs with 2 identified men and at least 1 other unidentified. Now, in 1886, the end came for Gosset himself when he died following that very long and painful illness. And he was only 48 years old. And getting back to that terrible thing that happened, do you know what that event was in 1863 that started all the misery for Gosset?
No.
Yeah, in 1863, it was the opening of Ipswich Grammar School.
Oh.
Because Gosset was at the peak of his career, having founded a leading school and was educating sons of some of the colony's richest families. But the opening of Ipswich Grammar School directly forced his Ipswich Collegiate School out of business. And that started the downward spiral that continued to his final miserable days, Danny. So just think of old Arthur Percy Gosset whenever you drive past Ipswich Grammar. It's not a good story.
But I would rather have met Champ Poo, the Chinaman.
Yeah, Shampoo of China. Well, he attempted murder, and then he actually ended up having 2 murders on his hands.
He was no good at
I don't know
murder.
whether you would have really wanted to meet him.
He was no good.
Well, he got it right in the end.
Well, he attempted, and he was no good at it. Then he did it. But listen, another great story. How do we hear this story again or read it? Because you've got a myriad. Is that the word? Myriad. Myriad of stories on your website. Tell us, or Facebook post. What is it?
Yeah, you can find me on all the socials, History Out There, or go to my website, historyouthere.com. This story gets uploaded first thing tomorrow morning. You can see the photos and things, but there's over 300 short stories, most of them about Ipswich, historyouthere.com.
There he is, Harold the H. Ark Peacock on West Bremer Radio, Ipswich's historian, one of the greats of, Ipswich history on West Bremer Radio. It's 8:20.